Though the intentionally misleading Light Patrol Group moniker would be dropped in the early 530s, the 1st Special Insertion Group, as it would come to be known, would conduct operations throughout and beyond the Westernlands Wars. As Cervania's first operational airborne infantry unit, it was originally devised during the war with Chagaria as a means of conducting raids, sabotaging equipment, and eliminating key personnel behind enemy lines in order to stem the invasion, and was given the Light Patrol Group title to mislead enemy intelligence. However, shortages of aviation fuel, available aircraft, personnel, and secure airspace kept it from seeing action. During the Second Leersog War, the Special Insertion Group would play an instrumental yet largely unknown role in maintaining Cervanian initiative, destroying road and rail bridges to starve the defenders of supplies, staging fake offensives to redirect resources and attention, and causing general havoc in the kingdom's interior. The most famous, or perhaps infamous, chapter in this Special Insertion Group's history was at Castle Dajic in the early autumn of 526. In a bold raid, a force of paratroopers dropped nearby the castle, which served as the headquarters of the Hetic Royal Flying Service, and swiftly stormed the keep. The ensuing firefight saw the deaths of the Royal Flying Service's most important personnel, including Chief of Staff Archek Marhol, Flying Ace Dashtan Simovan, and Air Service Information Director Tomasz Rosa. Moreover, the seizure of vital codebooks rendered Hetic cryptography virtually impotent for the remainder of the war. Discussion of the Cervanian Chell 1 light tank today will invariably feature prominent mention of its shortcomings. Many of them seem to be very obvious oversights, and even, in the opinion of some, intentional errors. The vehicle's design was rooted more in economics than doctrine. The two-man crew was inefficient and easily overwhelmed. The 27mm gun was known to be of limited use against armored and soft targets, without even having the advantage of fully automatic fire. Despite being proportionally well armored, its protection was nevertheless insufficient to stand up to modern anti-tank weaponry. And while it was small and light, it lacked the kind of cross-country speed one might expect. The common consensus is that the Chell 1 was a tank built for a war of attrition, a kind of war that Cervania could not fight. However, many of these criticisms are rooted in hindsight. The most frequent critique of Cervanian armor development was that motor arms should have focused on smaller numbers of higher quality tanks. The fact that Cervania was in no position to produce such vehicles is often overlooked, but so too is the fact that tank design and doctrine had not fully matured at the time of the Chell 1's development. The traits that would have made for an effective tank simply were not known. The Chell 1's shortcomings were acknowledged as such by its designers. The 27mm gun was intended to be placeholder and would be replaced by the 34mm CK-3422 gun when it became more widely available. However, the invasion by Chagaria precluded these plans, as Cervania needed to make immediate use of what it had on hand. Similarly, the Chell 2 was not a so-called panic project, as is often said by critics. For it to have been made in response to the Chell 1's failures in the war with Chagaria, it would have needed to go through design, testing, factory conversion, and production phases over the course of less than a year, a time frame unheard of even among the continental powers, let alone Cervania in the midst of an invasion. In fact, plans for a successor were drawn while the Chell 1 was still in early production. However, the original plan was to iterate on the new design over a longer period of time, taking lessons learned from the Chell 1 in regards to both production and doctrine, before Cervania was ready to mass produce it. The panic of the Chell 1's ineffectiveness didn't create the Chell 2, but it did cancel long-term plans in order to begin immediate production, resulting in a troubled implementation, made possible only through assistance by Cervania's Commonwealth allies.